What's up, guys? Brad Thomas here. Let's talk Thursday night football. Los Angeles Rams, Seattle Seahawks. Right now, the Seahawks are a 2-point favorite over the Rams with a total set at 42.5. Before we get into the game, it's important to note that there will be weather. 85% chance of rain in this game with 15 mile per hour wind, and the temperature is going to be around 46 degrees. So this is a rematch, obviously, divisional game. Rams won the first game, but I think a lot of people will say the Rams were lucky to win that game. I feel like even Sean McVay in his post-game mentioned their luck factor, or at least being fortunate to come out with the win. And, they say you make your own luck. They turned Sam Darnold over 4 times, 4 interceptions that game, yet they only had about a 20-minute time of possession, so they were doubled up in time of possession, doubled up in yards, doubled up in first downs. And honestly, while throwing 4 interceptions, Sam Darnold had a chance to come back and win that game. Didn't get the job done. In fact, the Seahawks, after losing that game, went on to rip off 4 straight victories, right? That's the last time they lost. Rams and Seahawks are both 11-3 and both 10-4 against the spread. It's interesting because that 21-19 game went under the total of 48.5, and the books know there's wind, know there's rain, and drastically dropped down the total to 42.5. I actually, if I were to bet the two, like if I were to bet a total in this game, it would be first half under 21.5 points, because I think both these teams know their firepower. If they start off sluggish, they know the other opponent could just go out there and absolutely annihilate. So I think they play this game really tight and really close, at least in that first half. So I do lean under 21.5 points. This is a fairly even game. So if you were to say, hey, I wanted to take the Rams plus the 2 in a close game that could go under, I think you're on the right track. Let's remember this line did move from 1 to 2, so there's a little money coming on the Seahawks. But why I say it's close, right? This is, we're going to talk about EPA and efficiency numbers real quick. This is the number 1 most successful team in success rate terms in the NFL in the Los Angeles Rams. Defensively, Seahawks 4th in success rate. And then both on the other side of the ball, Rams 5th in defensive success and Seahawks 8th. Each of them have their own issues. What's the biggest issue that both defenses have? Allow explosive plays. The Rams 26th in explosive play rate and the Seattle Seahawks 27th. And both offenses are terrible at converting third downs. And why I put my hands up like that is because if you think about both of these coaches and both of these offenses, they go for it a lot on 4th down. So typically when they have a 3rd and short, like a 3rd and 3, we'll call it, they typically do what I like to call a setup play, or a play that indicates they're going to go for it on 4th down if that play is unsuccessful. So that number is a little bit skewed. But if we're talking in terms of just the total, if you like the under because of the rain and the wind, let's talk about pace of play or plays per game rank. The Rams are 14th. The Seahawks are 26th, right? The Seahawks have one of the highest run rates in the NFL, actually 2nd highest run rate in the NFL. They're running the ball 49.69% of the time. On the other side of the ball, the Rams are only running at about 43%. I was diving into props, and I was going to be cheeky, and I was going to take passing yards under. Matthew Stafford set at 228.5, juice to the over. Sam Darnold at 225, juice to the under. I think both are fine. Stafford went under in that game last game that they played against each other, but that was just because they didn't really have the ball and they weren't getting first downs. Then I started to look at rushing attempts, because obviously you're going to run the ball more, but I think there's a correlation between running the ball more and the game slowing down. So if you think they're going to run the ball, like both the running backs are at 12.5 and 13.5 respectively for their rushing attempts, you're thinking there's going to be 25 runs between the starting running backs, and you're not even including the backup running backs who are going to run at least 40% of the time, maybe 35% of the time as well. So that's going to give you about 70 runs in that game. That's got to be the under, right? So I shied away from there. Receiving yards were fine, right? I have a hard time betting against Puka Nacua and his receiving yards just because of how they get him involved in the game, right? He's set at 91.5, but he's not necessarily a deep target. I say that incorrectly. He's not only a deep target. Yes, they target him deep, but they also get him involved in the short and intermediate and in screens. So I don't want to be any part involved in that. And same with Jackson Smith and Jigba. They just want to get the ball in his hands. So how do you play this game from a player prop perspective? I thought this was a really compelling bet, and I actually took it for both running backs, and I took longest rushing attempt. And I did it for both for 1.3 units to win 1 unit, basically. Kyron Williams over 11.5 rushing, longest rush, and Blake Corum over 11.5 longest rush. Both are minus 130. You can find the first one on Bovada, the second one on BetMGM. So let's talk about Kyron Williams. Kyron Williams, not super explosive, about middle of the pack for running backs who have at least 50, 75 carries on this season. But if you look at his longest rush, he's gone over in 3 straight, 19 longest rush against Detroit, 18th longest rush against Arizona, and 12th against the Carolina Panthers. He did not go over against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They have the most elite run defense in the league, and statistically not the best, but why I mean elite is they don't allow a lot of explosive runs. But then before that, 34 against Seattle, the team he's playing now, 12 against San Francisco, and 15 against New Orleans. So he's gone over in 6 of his last 7. Now, this is the darling of the bet. And this one's really only about getting the amount of carries necessary to hit this bet. But I'm saying if we can get double-digit carries, we have to hit this bet. If you are an advanced metrics guru, you have to love this bet. And that is Blake Corum, longest rush over 13.5. Over 11.5. I got so excited. I thought 13.5 was a good bet. And I was going to say that because I think 12.5 at even money is just as good. Blake Corum, of all running backs with at least 50 rushes, is first in success rate. Blake Corum, in explosive play rate, explosive run rate. Let's call it run rate because I don't want to include receptions, even though he does have 6 receptions. Blake Corum, in explosive run rate, first in the NFL of all backs with at least 50 carries. He has 14.29% explosive run rate. The only other running back who's in the 14s is Devon Achane, right? And we know the explosivity of that. Total EPA, he's second, only behind arguably the hottest or the best running back at the moment in Jonathan Taylor. This is a backup running back we're talking about, or a spell back. So I thought this number was really compelling. So my 2 favorite bets for this game, Blake Corum and Kyron Williams over 11.5 longest rush. And I actually think it's not like, oh God, one's going to hit one, one's not. With the Seattle Seahawks allowing a 27th in explosive play rate. So they're allowing an explosive play every 4.6 plays. I think there's ample opportunity. And if we're thinking that there's going to be more runs, yes, we're going to see more stacked and loaded boxes, but yes, that's more opportunities to break one, right? It's not out of this question that both can have 15 plus rushes and one's going to break off one for 25, 30 plus, you'd have to imagine. Okay. What everyone likes to talk about, first touchdown scorer. I absolutely hate this market. It's like one of my least favorite markets ever. But there are 2 players that I'm going to take. And the first one, you could probably find better odds, but I'm going with Colby Parkinson. Colby Parkinson has been a dominant red zone target for the Los Angeles Rams. He's 12-1 to get the first touchdown. And if we just want to talk about red zone targets, let's go with red zone targets for the Los Angeles Rams. And Devontae Adams banged up, right? That's 32 red zone targets. Puka Nacua is next in the wide receivers at 12. Do you know who has the second most red zone targets outside of Devontae Adams? Colby Parkinson, 17 red zone targets. I like him a lot. And then the other one, Seattle Seahawks. I felt like Seattle Seahawks could go a myriad of ways, right? I think you have to either consider A.J. Barner, I think he's 12-1, or consider Rashid Shaheed. And I say Rashid Shaheed, even though he was only targeted once in the red zone last game, twice since he's been on the team. He is the guy who I think the Rams want to catch caught sleeping, right? You know A.J. Barner is going to be a red zone target. You know that Jackson Smith and Jigba is going to be a red zone target, and you know that Cooper Kupp is going to be a red zone target. Also, this team really likes to run the ball with Zach Charbonnet in the red zone. So you have a stacked box. They may run. If they're going to run 12 personnel, it's probably going to be A.J. Barner. Option could be Elijah Royal, but I'm leaning more towards Barner. And then if they don't, they spread it out. then the Rams have to change their look or call a timeout. They change their look, call a timeout. They don't call a timeout. They change their look. Why not give me Shaheed? Because you're going to be keyed on 2 wide receivers, and that's going to be Jack Smith and Jigba and Cooper Smith. Cooper Smith. Oh, my God. Cooper Kupp. But I digress. I think this market is absolutely stupid, but I'm just taking the 3 for like very small because I think there's good value on that. I wish I had more bets or options that I liked in this game, but I'll just go ahead and tell you my leans. I lean first half under 21 points. I don't have a lean on the side. I honestly don't care who wins this game either, but I am taking both Kyren Williams and Blake Corum over 11.5 longest rush. And then my first touchdown leans, Colby Parkinson, AJ Barner, and Rashid Shaheed. Best of luck, guys. And listen, before I let you go, if you're interested in my gambling picks, gamblersguild.net. I also am running a free 2-week trial. So if you comment free under here, I'll send it to you. Again, my service is pretty simple. I like to make bets. I like to win. I don't run a lot of parlays. I'm not a parlay service, and I'm not going to be all flashy in your face saying that this is a 18-unit max bet. I'm a 1-unit scale guy. I just like to win bets and have high ROI. Thanks for watching my video. Best of luck.